Rise and shine, wild ones. It's Bernadette. I'm here with your Pick a Card Tarot reading for Wednesday, January 13th, 2021. I'm so happy for you guys. Yesterday was the walk away. These boots are made for walking, right? And you guys were like talking all about the things, the toxic things and people that you're going to leave and what no longer serves you. And at the end of the day, I was thinking, oh my gosh, that's really like the tarot card, or it's like the Tower tarot card, right? What shows up for you guys this morning? The polar bear, which is the card that comes right after the Tower in the tarot, in the Rider-Waite tarot, which, you know, I read from my own deck, the Arcanimal Tarot and Oracle deck. It's based on the Rider-Waite, and then, of course, uses, you know, all of the animal allies along with the Rider-Waite symbolism. And I thought, wow, this is really interesting. So I went into a meditation like I do before every reading, and I was in Alaska, and it was warmer. It wasn't quite as cold, and I just was kind of sitting there in the middle of all the polar bears that were around, and my spirit felt really, really, really tired, like. You know, that kind of tired when you know everything's going to be okay, but you've just put up such a battle for so long. You've been in trauma for like a while, and then as you come out of it, you just take that deep breath. And one big old bear got up, and he sat right beside me, and we just kind of looked out over the water. And then I'm going to get all emotional talking about it. And he just leaned up against me, and then I just leaned up against him, and then everything just kind of faded out. And it was that unity. It was that being in relationship with. That word keeps, you know, I told you guys, I don't know, last week or over the weekend or whatever, this term that I'm now putting in place of the use word, right? Being in relationship with. It was just such a magical experience. There's and shout out to Rondell from Pleiades in Alaska. She's got the most beautiful metaphysical store there, and I can't wait until we're allowed to travel again, and, you know, it's safe and whatever it is that's going on, and, you know, I feel comfortable going there, because she's got friends that are private guides, and they do all this work out in the Alaskan wilderness and, you know, in the oceans and whatever. And I'm gonna go for a while and hopefully get to be around some polar bears without getting et. So it's just what this means for you guys today is that let's just talk for a minute about the traditional tarot card meanings for the star card, right? Okay, so the star card really, it is about healing. It's about hope. Its zodiac sign is Aquarius. That's the waters of life coming out of the jug. And Aquarians, you know, they see everything as it can be, not necessarily what it is, but well, it is that in their mind when they envision it. So whenever I see the star card come up and it's in an upright position, I know that it's time to see things. I don't want to say as they are, because that's the whole point. If you see things as you want them to be, then they are that way. If that makes sense, it's about setting your intentions, right? And when the star tarot card comes, it's got those 7 yellow stars. That's a Pleiades, and the white star in the middle represents divine guidance, our ability to live connected, you know, with the source of wisdom. You know, for me this morning, that happened to manifest as a literal polar bear, and God, I can still feel him right up against me, right? So you've just been through a soul initiation with the Tower card, right? And so that's the stripping away of everything that's false and in some ways tied to the material world. For those of you that, you know, it resonated with yesterday, the, you know, peace out thing, or I'm outie, that is the Tower card. It very may have felt, very well may feel like a death of sorts here, but you know, just like when you see in the tarot, the Rider-Waite tarot, the maiden, her picture, just like Aquarius, it flows with the waters of life. And so understand that all of the emotions that you're thinking right now, it really is time to sit in a meditative state, because this maiden who you see in the picture, first of all, she's naked, and it doesn't faze her at all. And metaphorically, symbolically, what that means is we're showing up to the world, even after this time, with our most authentic self, and we're not afraid at all to show that. There's no shame, there's no, there's just no hesitancy, right? You're just bearing everything to the world of spirit, to yourself, to the outside world. And in that way, it makes you, in this moment, no matter what your gender is that you identify with, it makes you the Earth Mother, Mother Gaia. It makes you, in some ways, the Empress in the tarot, right? So when you take a look at, well, what does this mean about moving forward? Okay, so Wednesday is the day of transition, and the ruling chakra is, of course, the solar plexus chakra, and the planetary influence is Mercury. Mercury is the heaven, the messenger between the gods and Earth. So just symbolically speaking, I think Wednesday is the perfect day to just take a relax and go into a meditative state and help your spirit transition from the yesterday, get it gone, to the tomorrow of, man, everything is hopeful. I feel so healed. I am in such a place of seeing the beauty, seeing things as I know that they are, not as I want them to be, but as I know that they are. And I'm just so hopeful about the future. When the Kabbalists refer to this card, they call it the Star Tarot card the natural intelligence. And that natural intelligence it's not only about our experiences here in the here and now. It's very much a previous life thing, a genetic memory, something in our DNA, past lives, the Akashic records, whatever you want to call it. So you might feel today something deeply, just really stirring deep in your spirit. It's not meant to be negative or a downer in any way. It's actually meant to be quite positive, because you're going to be drawing on previous lifetimes of just that, the experience, the knowledge, the wisdom that you've gained. And this is going to be a perfect day for you to bridge that gap, right? Wednesday, we're bridging the gap, to bridge that gap between yesterday, which, and by yesterday, I mean, it could be literally yesterday, or it could be literally like thousands of years ago yesterday, because time is an illusion, right? It's just something that we live in, but 1,000 years ago really was yesterday. So, start bringing some of that in if you feel called to do it. If you don't feel called to do it, well, then, don't do it. Where polar bear fits into all of this is when you think about, the North Star, when you think about all the lights that are, in that area, just the, the lights I'm talking about in the sky, the aurora borealis, and then you think about how white polar bears are, which they're really actually not. They're actually kind of blue. They hide against the ice, right? And so, but they give off the sheen of being white. And white is, of course, always associated with angelic energy, divine energy, everything that's pure, everything that's good. And the polar bear allows you to see everything with new eyes. It allows everything in your body to feel like awake. It's just an amazing animal that just gets you to the whole flow, if that makes sense. Meaning, when you see a polar bear, when you hear about a polar bear, when you dream about a polar bear, another way to describe this is, so let's say that you're into sacred geometry, right? I know a little bit about it, enough to get by, but I don't really resonate with math, although I resonate with science. That's crazy. But people that are real true students of sacred geometry, they associate the polar bear with the Earth's ley lines. And so that's going to be trusting whatever magnetic energy is pulling you here, pulling you there, or beckoning you here or beckoning you there. Polar bears, I mean, I could go on for days with the indigenous stories and myths about them, because I'm a bear person, right? And it doesn't matter what kind of bear. I mean, my favorite is grizzly, and Russian brown, and Russian bears. They're my favorites. Uh, but I live for all bears, so I read a lot about them, right? And it's interesting to me that in every single culture, from the beginning of when these kinds of things were recorded and have gotten to my consciousness today, every culture that knows about polar bears, right? They really associate it with deeply, deeply like shamanic practices, in terms of a polar bear helping you to journey through time and space. They they the medicine, the polar bear medicine, it teaches us about patience and determination, because a polar bear will walk 15 miles or swim up to 200 just to get a bite to eat. It's crazy. And so what that talks about is, well, how deep is your will, not to survive, but to be nourished? And I think that's where this whole thing today about get yeah. So this whole thing today, because I've been a little surprised about the whole, the bear leaning up against me, and I'm not surprised against me leaning up against a bear, but it's not every day that I have an animal show up in the physical sense, if that makes sense. So I take those times, like, very reverently, very respectfully. And what Polar Bear is saying to me now is that it's this journey that you're on, this hope that you're, hopeful place that you're going to be in. It's going to have to include at least one other person. You won't be getting there on your own. And that means a human person. You always have your animal allies beside you, always. But that's going to include a human person this time. So find that person that will lean up against you, and find that person that you will lean up against, and you guys can just sit in silence and just think and dream and hope and whatever. But it's if the reading seems a little quiet today, that's because the energy of the reading is very quiet. Again, not a downer of any kind, but just a reverence, just a time to sit and meditate and reflect, and whatever it is when you go to your quiet place, that's the energy of today. So I hope Polar Bear and the Star Tarot card have been helpful to you. I hope you pick up a copy of the Arc Animal Tarot and Oracle deck, so you can have amazing, accurate readings and get closer to all the animal allies in the natural world. And like always, I hope you subscribe to my YouTube channel. And today, when you're sitting in your quiet, sacred space, just remember that what I'm all about, what the animal allies are all about, and you guys know what I'm about to say, that doesn't have to be an out loud thing. It can just be that in your spirit. And that's what it calls for today. In your spirit, don't have to be loud and out with it, but always remember to stay wild.